You're still live on Metro Sports. I'm Michael Kofi, the show running between now and midday. And at midday, we bring you the latest happening in the world of news plus conversations around the biggest issues this morning on Good Afternoon Ghana. Still with me in the studio, Squabna Santin Fojo Kobe Jones, a spokesperson for the National Chapters Committee of Accra Hatofok. Ebenezer Sifa is a trained coach and a media practitioner and a member of the Kumasi Asante Kotoko Communications team. Seth Nidakon is also here with us. Results from Africa Cup of Nations, Egypt 3, Benin 1, and that was after the game traveled beyond 90 minutes to extra time. Nigeria 4, Mozambique 0. Coach Ben, are the Nigerians the best team so far in the Africa Cup of Nations?
No, I think the last time we spoke, I mentioned 5 countries, though Nigeria was included. I don't think they are the best at the moment. You have Cameroon, who's also doing very well. The host, you cannot take anything away from the host. And I think that Egypt is also not bad. I mean, since they've all qualified for the quarterfinals, of course, you cannot take anything away from them. In yesterday's game, for instance, we saw Egypt fighting hard to get the 3 goals past Benin in the extra time. And I think that it was a good game we witnessed. For Nigeria, I knew it was not going to be difficult for them to beat Mozambique because I did mention that, yes, I am a fan of Victor Osimhen, but if they play as a team, but not as individuals, then they should be able to go past Mozambique, which we saw yesterday. We saw the chemistry between Alex Iwobi in midfield. I mean, I think that he's the most improved Nigerian player today, Alex Iwobi. See the way he plays his midfield, his runs, his control, and the kind of passes that he sent out front for the likes of Victor Osimhen, Lukman, and the rest. But I think that the Nigerian side is delight to watch when they play as a team. So for me, Michael, I'll mention Nigeria. Of course, you mentioned Morocco, and Cameroon is also doing very well. The players that have come, that were born outside Cameroon, and Michael, found themselves within the Cameroonian side. Today you see a different Cameroonian side when they are playing. The way they transit, the way they run, and these are a very young team. I wasn't surprised Abubakar and the likes of Onana were out of the team earlier on. But I think that the Cameroonian side are a team to watch. Today we're going to witness the likes of Cote d'Ivoire and then DR Congo, another tough customers. And I believe that, Michael, these are the countries that I think that we can look up to. Apart from those that have qualified for the quarterfinals, I think that Algeria, DR Congo is going to be a cracker, but I think that DR Congo stands a chance of also going ahead. And of course, the Burkina Faso and the Ivorian team, I expect that game to go extra mile. Yes, I expect it to go extra mile. You know, the Burkina base have wonderful individual players when they have their day. You could clearly see that, yes, physical football with total aggression football. But the Ivorians, of course, as defending champions, we witnessed their last game, and I think that they have to fight back to be able to sail through. So for me, psychologically, I'm looking at Cote d'Ivoire and then DR Congo to be able to get to the quarterfinals as the other teams have done.
The big win for Nigeria was overshadowed by exchanges between Ademola Lookman and Victor Osimhen. Victor Osimhen had reasons to complain bitterly about how selfish he feels Ademola Lookman has been in the tournament, especially in the game in question, Nigeria-Mozambique. But the supporters seem to be on the side of Ademola Lookman, describing Victor Osimhen as an arrogant player. What does this do to the chemistry of the Nigerian team that has had a sterling tournament, and how does this impact their title ambitions?
I think that the issue between the two for Osimhen is too overconfident, and he feels too entitled, and you can't take it away from him because he was not fit for the qualifiers. That accounted for Nigeria missing out of the Mondial, the World Cup, and we all attest to that. So indeed, if he feels entitled, you can't begrudge him. Ademola Lookman has been on and off for the Nigerian national team, and I think he has stepped up in this competition compared to what we saw during the qualifiers and other matches that they played. because all the games has always been Osimhen. And he comes in and he proves why he is the man. All right. Yesterday, Osimhen scored 2 goals. Ademola also scored. All right. But he thought that maybe certain passes, he could have given it to him to actually get a hat trick or something. I don't know whether they are challenging. Don't forget, Lukman was the 2024 African Player of the Year. And this year was the Moroccan,
Ashraf
Hakimi.
But before Lukman was Osimhen.
So maybe Osimhen.
But are there reasons to suggest that there is a struggle over who the face of this Nigerian team is, or who the actual big boy in?
Yeah, of course.
I
think the poster boy has always been for us Osimhen, but I think that maybe the likes of Ademola and the rest.
Lukman's performance over the last 2 years.
No, but for me, Osimhen has stand out. Just look at what happened in the Nations Cup the last year. In the World Cup qualifiers. When he was not there, they were not functioning. Anytime he comes in, they function. Even in their match against DR Congo, which they drew for DR Congo to win on penalties. You remember he got injured in that match. You know, he scored and got injured. He needed to go out. And even at one point, he was telling the coaches that he can still play. You understand? So he has been the poster boy of the team. I think they should recognize that. That is why the likes of Ademola and all those people should recognize. For me, if you know how to do something and you become too confident, people tend it to be arrogancy and ego. And maybe that is what we are seeing with Victor Osimhen. It behoves on the coach to manage these players because they are all in the team. You need them to come to the party. Now, I mean, as Nigeria is doing well, the last African Cup of Nations, they were in the final. They were beaten by Ivory Coast, the host nation. Today, this year's African Cup of Nations, it's not that they are winning matches, they are playing well.
Yeah, very convincing.
Yeah, they are playing well. I mean, if you compare this Nigerian team to even the team that played in Cote d'Ivoire, this one is a bit better than the Cote d'Ivoire team. All right? So it tells me that they can even go long haul. And like Coach said, if you look at the Nigerian team and other teams like Morocco, like Egypt, Cote d'Ivoire, you know, Senegal, I think so far Nigeria are blowing teams away. The other teams struggle a bit, maybe due to the opponents or whatever. But of course, if you win convincingly, then people and it's not like they don't play well. They play well and they win. Okay, so for me, the coach to manage the ego of these boys.
Now, talking about the management of these internal rifts, I'm sure Nidako is in a better position to tell us whether it affects the team or not and how they can manage it, as we can reference recent minor internal rift in the camp of Asante Kotoko. Mentions can be made to names like Justice Blay, Kamara, Ablo, and what's the name of the striker? Kwame Poku, who were all in the picture in a narrative by former Asante Kotoko captain Justice Blay. So, how do the Nigeria, first of all, has this got the potency to hamper the chances of Nigeria's ambition of winning the Africa Cup of Nations Morocco 2026? And how do they deal in such a situation?
Of course, it has that potency to affect them.
Okay.
I mean, this
the Kotoko one affect Kotoko?
Oh yeah, to some extent,
Okay.
it really affected us because,
Okay.
see, at a time where you need the collaboration of all your players
And the cohesion.
understanding, and everything, and these things start to crop up. You certainly may go through certain situations where you might be found wanting. And you see, I didn't like what happened yesterday. And it will take a manager who is very, very strong in the dressing room to manage such issues.
Okay.
If you are not able to manage it well, it will certainly go against you.
Okay.
And with this, I pray the management committee of the Nigerian national team, together with the head coach, should be able to manage this thing very well. Because from what I'm saying, Nigeria winning the tournament wouldn't be a surprise to me. But if you are not able to manage it well, it will affect you. You see, I saw one thing about Victor Osimhen. Is a player who always want to get results for either his team or the country. And that's what I saw yesterday, because he was thinking they could have scored more goals than the number of goals they got yesterday. And sometimes it's worrying that you will be at a better position to score a goal when a player or a colleague is trying to maybe become a little bit selfish. And that's what happened. But this is purely managerial, and I don't see why the coach of the Nigerian national team will not be able to manage this particular situation. They have some few days ahead of them before they go into the next game, so they should be able to manage them well. In fact, this morning I heard that if it got to a point, Osimhen even called for his substitution, and the coach also effected that. I mean, these are things you can do and do it well. Failure to do so will go a long way to go against you. And if you're not able to manage it well, at the end of the day, it is the coach who is going to, be fired. So I am only hoping that the head coach, that's why we normally call them managers of the team, should be able to manage this particular situation well, talk to the two players. Because with this, Lookman will have his constituency in the team, as well as Victor Osimhen. They all have their preferred players, they all have their friends, their respective friends in the team. So if you are not able to manage these two players very well, it will go a long way to affect the team, since both of them will have their parties in the team. Or they should be able to manage it, and if they are able to do it, I see them going beyond the semi-finals as far as this particular tournament is concerned.
Kwesi Makujam Fiodro sent us a message. He says, please ask Kobe, who gave the 2 assists for Osimhen's goals. It's not about who is big. The Nigerians admit Osimhen is their talisman. The incident happened in the heat of the moment, passion, and Osimhen overreacted by not joining the team huddle after the game. Lookman called him his big brother post-match conference. He used the word brother more than 5 times. This isn't an issue at all. Osimhen just needs to calm down. He didn't act this way towards his Napoli teammate when they clearly disrespected him. He can't do that at Galatasaray. Why should we encourage this behavior? They will be fine. Okay. Coach Ebenezer Sifa, let me come to you. Are Osimhen's concerns justified, especially when Lookman continues to provide assists for him? And even in the game we're discussing, Lookman provided an assist for Osimhen.
No, it's not justifiable. To be honest with you, yes. In as much that they respect him. You remember during the World Cup qualifiers when he got injured. When you listen to Nigerian journalists, the media from Nigeria, the people from Nigeria were all calling for Victor Osimhen's presence in the team. And they believe that there are some matches that if Osimhen has been part of it, at least his effort, his runs, his commitment will have helped them probably go through. But what he did for me, Michael, is not justifiable, because at the end of the day, all the players can assist each other. That is why I mentioned that if they play as a team and not as individual players on the field of play. And for me, they all play as a team, because in as much that Lookman assisted Osimhen, Alex Iwobi in midfield also did a lot of transition, because the ball has to come from somewhere before it gets to you. You get my point, Michael. So for me, it is a teamwork. But I believe that what happened, as Lookman said after the game, it's part of football. It has happened, but he sees it as football. But Osimhen took it out of football, because after the game, you saw him just move into the dressing room without even looking at his colleagues. And I think he did same at Napoli when something happened. Some of his colleagues were coming to him, and he just blew them off. And I think that it is becoming bad of him. I think it is his attitude, which for me is not good for him, because at the end of the day, yes, you are a workaholic in the Nigerian setup. But if the ball doesn't come to you, how do you get the balls at the back of the net? Anytime the ball goes the wide areas and the camera captures Victor Osimhen, you see him raising his hands, meaning you want them to send the ball to you. But you are having issues with them because 1 or 2 balls did not come to you, and if you think that you should have issues with you, they can choose to ignore you because you are not the only player who's on the field who scores for Nigeria. I believe that he should just put it behind him and then probably call his younger brother and then say, Charlie, forget about it. It is football. It has happened. But I think that it is becoming unbecoming of him because this is not the first time he's doing that. And I think that he needs to be talked to. Because at the end of the day, if you are the talisman of the team, it is the collective of the other players that made you that Victor Osimhen. Okay. Because even if the goalkeeper in the goalpost of the Nigerian team gets the ball and he doesn't send the ball to the defender, probably through the midfield, you're not going to get it.
Let's look at matches coming up today. But as we discuss the Osimhen issue, there's a viewer who is texted. He said Barcelona FC needs a replacement for Robert Lewandowski, and they need to go for Osimhen. I see. Kobe, tricky game expected between Algeria and DR Congo. But who are favorites?
It's a very tricky game. I see DR Congo winning this. Mm-hmm. Yes. The reason being that if you check the games between the West African countries and the North African countries, mostly the North African countries find it difficult playing the West African countries. And I believe DR Congo, who is also part of the southern side, their style of play and everything is almost like an West African country. The physique, the energy, and the approach in the game they played so far. I watched their game against Ivory Coast, and you realize that it was a game of equals. I see it to be a very tough game. I won't be surprised if we travel more than the 90 minutes to extra time to even penalty shootout. But I still think that maybe Algeria will have an advantage, slight advantage, maybe. But I see DR Congo qualifying to the next stage of the competition. It will be an interesting game. It will be a tough game. Because the DR Congo, from the matches I've watched so far, they are very disciplined and very good side. They have the strength, they have the physique, and they fight for every ball. You know, in their game against Ivory Coast, even when Ivory Coast took the lead, I was thinking that they would capitulate, but they fought back to the extent that they had even wanted to win. And that tells you the mentality of this DR Congo team. So for me, it will be an interesting game, but I think that my instinct tells me that DR Congo will make it to the next stage of the competition.
Okay. Neither Cote d'Ivoire, Burkina Faso.
Another cracker game we are going to witness this evening. These are two countries that are familiar to each other, and in fact, the Ivorians hasn't been that convincing in this particular tournament. Oh yes, they've not been able to do as expected of them, especially prior to the tournament. Most of us, most pundits, see them to be one of the teams to win, or one of the favorites to win the tournament. But that's not what we are seeing there. Playing against Burkina, it's a tough game. It's a tough game, but I'll give the Ivorians slight advantage or slight edge over their opponents. But it's not going to be an easy. If that one also travels beyond the regulation time, I wouldn't be surprised. But I will go in for the Ivorians to qualify to the next stage of the competition.